Hi, everybody. It's Steve Olson and Wayne Steiger. It's Monday, September 26th. And of course, we want to report right away on the asteroid strike in Western or Eastern Australia. Wayne, what did you hear about this so far?
I heard it when it just kind of began to break across, and actually it was the alternative media that actually was breaking the story before the normal media. So, hey, something's up, Steve.
Well, this just reminds me. I mean, so the first question I asked you on the phone, do you remember when we talked about this? When we were lined up, do you remember my question I asked you? When was the last time you actually remember an asteroid hitting the Earth and causing major damage where it would actually be a news story?
You know, the last one I can remember is the one that hit over Russia, but that didn't hit. That actually blew up in the air.
Correct. Yeah, that was the last one I remember too. But I also remember the one about the India, where we had a death from a smaller meteor, but meteorite, I guess it would become. So I just wanted to let everybody know. Yeah, we did definitely get a strike, and we did a lot of study over this over the weekend. And I guess my final conclusion on this is there's a good chance that we were being threatened. I think that I do think that honestly the governments of the world pulled together and nuked it or did something to deflect the greater part of it. And we may see a debris field. That's where I kind of came down on it, Wayne.
Yeah, but isn't the Chinese still saying that the big one that's bigger than apparently Earth that is heading this way? I guess somewhere around 2000. What did I hear? 2028. They're sending up probes now, and I may have the date off, but but as I understand this, Steve, there's now I think the theories or the hypotheses will start coming forward. Are we actually entering in to a debris field? Is this just the beginning? I don't know. I think these are the questions that have to be given serious precedence.
Yeah, and again, when I see an asteroid, and again, in my lifetime, like I said, in my lifetime, the only time I remember major damage from a space object, let's call it, okay, was Russia. Prior to that, it was historical accounts of strikes, okay, Wayne? I don't remember one actually striking the Earth to this dramatic level. And let's take a look at it and see if we get any more details on my emergency counter here.
Okay,
let's see what we got here. The severity of the event was moderate, so yeah, there was some damage, but no initial reports on the service so far.
Well, here's the thing. How much are they going to censor what's coming out? If this wasn't in an isolated area, they aren't going to give us the true story on it.
Yeah, I know. And again, once you get past the coast, as I understand it from my Australian friends, is that you get into the bush pretty quick. But look, it is near a, any irony there? I mean, comet. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean anything by that. So apparently, this is where it hit in the view of some civilized areas here. It looks like.
Yes, it did. Now, of course, the irony, Steve, it does. I mean, come on. How ironic is that there's a town called Comet right next to it? Come on.
No, I'm trying, because look, people could be hurt, man. Okay, so I'm trying to stay.
Well, I get it, but even in the midst of the greatest pain, laughter, sometimes you just got to say, God has a sense of humor. And God didn't cause this. I mean, I'm just saying, it's just funny.
It is. But we'll be praying. I mean, by now you've probably heard about it if you watch alternative media, but we just wanted to kind of acknowledge it's there, give you an update as far as what we know, and, as things develop, we'll talk more about it. One of the things I wanted to get into a little bit, though, Wayne, is this new production that you just came up on, which I'd like to kind of, let you go ahead and just, pitch it a little bit, is that thoughts on motion. And I thought this is a fascinating look at the motion of everything that's going on around these satellites that we look at. Can you just give me an idea of what somebody would see when they come in and look at this?
Yeah, what you see is that's the background star field. Now, depending on the point of view that you're looking at, that I am assuming is the Milky Way. I mean, I don't know, because as I said in the video here, Steve, it began to get me to start thinking that, wait a minute, if the Earth is moving at 67,000 miles an hour, the sun is moving at 450,000 miles an hour, the Milky Way is moving at 550,000 miles an hour, and what most people don't have any conception of is just how freaking fast the universe is. And what got me was Yellow Rose of Texas, when she did her video and showed 2 years of SECCHI footage, I kept on seeing what I guess is the core of the Milky Way coming by about every, I don't know, it seemed about every 65, 70-something days. And I'm going to myself, but wait a minute. The Milky Way going across, if you were looking at a slice, is over 100 million light years. 1 light year is 6 trillion miles. Okay, then you look at the width, it's estimated at 125,000 light years across. Steve, something doesn't make sense, brother. I mean, you've got so many bodies moving so fast and in such a direction. Why are we seeing, and even if the satellite is stationary, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And what I thought SECCHI was catching was this, basically the planets coming across its field of plane, of view. And that what you're seeing behind there is, of course, star systems of I get that, the Milky Way, et cetera, just like that video was showing. But what I don't understand is how could the Milky Way move so fast in comparing such broad distances? It just doesn't make any sense. And that's why I put it, the thoughts of motion.
And, you know, kind of in a nutshell, so do you think what we're seeing is, okay, I mean, back up a second. I heard all these numbers that you threw around, okay? And they're mind-boggling, okay? They really are. I get it. So my question to you, though, is, are you saying that things really do, from the perspective of that spacecraft, are moving around that quickly? And that's how fast things are moving around the spacecraft at all times? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I am saying, and it gets stranger because the view from where we are now. Here's what's changed in the last. Are you ready for this, Steve? The last 5 years, it was standard thought that for a very long time that the Earth, in where we are in the Goldilocks zone, was about 3/4 of the distance out from the center of the Milky Way. It doesn't appear that's the case. It appears we're only about halfway from the center of the Milky Way. Okay, this makes it even more odder. We only see 14% or less of the total view of the Milky Way. So explain to me again, how come am I seeing the core of the Milky Way rotating? And even if, and I thought that this camera, this satellite was stationary. I get it that everything is moving, but moving that fast?
I agree, and I mean, we were discussing it, and I still don't have an answer for all of it, but I will tell you that, you know, that actually brings up a memory for me, and that is the Yellow Rose of Texas. Do you remember the Yellow Rose of Texas?
Well, I lived in, grew up in Houston and in Austin, so yes, I do.
Oh, it's Yellow Rose for Texas, right?
Yes, I think it is for Texas, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
This one?
Go down right there. Yep, there it is. And go to the planetary shield.
This one?
Yeah, I think this is, let's see. Go to, can you just put all her videos up on her page?
Yeah, I'm going to do that here in just a second. Yeah. Let me just get to the channel here. I'm pretty sure I subscribed to her channel, even though she's, yeah, there it is. Okay, so Yellow Rose for Texas.
And I just want to say a voice of gratitude and thanks. You know, listen, if I could shake your hand, I would, and a lot of respect. So, Steve, the planet shields blew me away.
Let's go to it. And again, we don't have directly your permission, but we're giving you full credit, Yellow Rose for Texas, and the work that she did. Basically, this is a lady that started making videos a couple of years back and stopped abruptly. Which one do you want me to put up? This one?
It's the planet shields, yes. The planet, yeah. That one. So we've had so much. Yeah.
This is the last video that she made, and she basically, I think, just disappeared. But go ahead, Wayne.
Yeah, well, we came about this in a more circuitous way. I did not know about her. I did not know the work that she did. But when you see, I have a great deal of respect and admiration for logical thought, and to be able to take the unknown and place it into a known factor that comprehension can take place. This is what she has done. And as our professor has theorized on the brown dwarf star coming in, I believe what she caught with SECCHI in these very early days of SECCHI, that she did in fact catch something on a much, much larger scale, Steve. And I can't say enough. It answered the question that you and I have been asking ourselves. This right there, that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is a planetary shield, as the Yellow Rose showed. You have to see this video. Watch it. I've watched it at least 24 times. I've shown it to my family members. They all walk away just slack-jawed, Steve.
Right, and we're trying to communicate with the person that made these videos, the actual person behind the Yellow Rose for Texas YouTube channel, and it's really up to her if she wants to be on our show. She's considering it right now.
So if you actually start playing this in motion, what she captured here, and this is a compilation over a year or so. Steve, I just don't think we had any comprehension of a scale of a planetary war. And I know that sounds far-fetched, but you know what? I don't care. Because listen, I have found that the fact that a single cell that you can't see with the human eye can kill your body. So don't tell me that there cannot be a planetary battle taking place that the common man, meaning you and I, have no comprehension of.
Well, here again, we're talking about this kind of, amnesia of the human soul, amnesia of the human species. These are remarkable photographs, by the way. And again, we encourage everybody to go listen to the narrative as well.
Here, Steve. Dr. C, do the math on this. This is what I think drained the sun. Look at that, Steve. That's no damn lens flare. Anyone who says that, keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, we were. No, I love you, brother. But yeah, as a pure scientist, it's like this institutional memory that she's giving us that we never knew this stuff was happening in 2007. She documented it.
Yes, she did. And and it's just so.
That was like an explosion of some sort, man.
Well, it took it right from the sun. And I'll tell you, if you look at the charts, after this period of time, what have we seen? We've seen increase in coronal holes. We've seen diminished solar output. We've seen the so-called Earth-facing quiet. All this begins to add up as to what the hell is going on here. Yes, I use the word hell as a figurative expression of going, I don't understand.
Well, and if any of this is happening in I'm sorry, I keep saying H1, it's HI1B or A. If it's happening now, they block or they obfuscate. They've
sanitized it.
Yeah, this is from previous such emissions here.
I think what we saw here, and it's just my theory, but I think now, Rose thinks that we may have, that the good guys may have won this battle. But Rose, I have a question. What if this was just one salvo of a much bigger conflict? And the amount of energy that took place in this battle is just mind-blowing. Right. And, listen, the beginning of wisdom is to ask the question. And I think what we have to ask the question here is, what is it that we're seeing? Look at this. That's not a lens flare, folks.
No, I think we need to add it to the equation of all the things that we're talking about. I mean, this 2007 history, and and again, you may listen. I'm not asking anybody to follow or track with anybody's religious beliefs, including Yellow Rose of Texas. But I do think what she captured is a huge part of the puzzle, and we want to talk more about it.
Yes, yes. Look at Mercury. Mercury is down there at the lower right-hand corner. This is something on a scale that is beyond most of our ability to apprehend in thought, much less comprehend.
Yeah, and you know, again, so this would explain why we've seen potentially chemtrailing other types of activity as early as 2000. Lynn.
Yeah. So
I don't. Hey, by the way, I remember when we first moved into this farmhouse that I'm living in right now. It was in 2012. Okay, and it was, I gotta say, September. And we were all kind of rolling out to the garage to look at something Christopher was doing. There's like 6 of us, right? Hey, let's go check out Christopher's truck. And this huge red aurora borealis just enveloped it literally all the way to about 100, you know, almost the whole sky with the red color that then turned green. And you could see the magnetosphere of the Earth and everything. It was very crazy. I'm wondering if maybe one of these types of blasts didn't cause it.
You know, I think it begins to have to factor in a new set of equations from and listen, what we're really talking about here is no different than what Albert Einstein or any of the other great theorists. They were all theoretical physicists. And my point to this is, Steve, we got to approach this as what's going on here. Now, a cosmologist, a good theoretical physicist can begin to look at this and begin to take the accurate measurements, because this is what we're actually seeing. Cause and effect, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are we catching here? Look at the size of the energy necessary to push this off. I don't care what anyone says. And then you begin to see Mercury really exactly. That's all you can say. Look at this.
Wow, one of the orbs basically dominates the pattern. Is that a dude hanging out in there? Hello, it's Shiva. Hello, I'm Shiva.
I'm trying to comprehend, number one, the sophistication required for this, but the fact that they had to draw off of our star in order to fuse this thing, this shield, I guess, I don't know what to call it, with the power. I mean, it's just amazing.
It's incredible. All right, so yellow rose for Texas, and we're going to keep looking at her stuff. But this footage is just, this is crazy level stuff, and you know, you know, it's stuff that I love watching this stuff. I love knowing more about it. I hate that my government's hiding it from me. I hate that I can't join in the science with the government. With, you know, like, you know, remember when we were growing up, Wayne? And I know you remember this, but remember how that spirit of wonderment and we're all going to go to the moon together as America, and we're, you know, remember that feeling that everybody wanted to go to engineering school? We all wanted to design rockets or fly rockets. Remember that?
I do.
And then, and it's like it's like, and if they would have kept going, like, so Viking had already made it to Mars. We already knew what the pattern was. You start with the robots and then you put the men up there and you do it in very small increments. And NASA got really good at that. And we were getting ready to start those increments towards Mars. And then bam, it just, everything shut down. It's almost like NASA just became like this big lump of nothing.
Well, they certainly lost their mandate and their vision. There's no doubt. But, you know, listen, I have a picture of the of what is the known universe of Hubble. And when you begin to take the density of the amount of light, Steve, my whole point to this is we're not the only intelligence out there. That's all I got to say. We're pretty new to the game.
Well, and I think that's one of the importance of, that's the importance of theology, and that's the importance of philosophy, you know. And we need to take a good think about, you know, our origins. And we're, you know, look, we're going to be headlong into this pretty soon. I think we're going to be up to our waist in trying to figure out if aliens are truly real, or if these beings from other worlds are real. And by the way, I had a Christian person that wrote to me today. It was really one of those kind of things. It's like, you use the word alien, so we can't listen to you anymore. And I'm like, really?
What?
Well, no, I'm not going to get upset about it. I get it. Because Christians and Americans in general have been taught the word alien means weird, huge-eyed, gray alien type creature from, the X-Files.
Yeah.
Okay? And what I tried to remind her was, even Paul said that you've been entertained by angels unawares, so they must not be so weird, right?
All right, so do we call them extraterrestrials?
I don't know, but they're not from here. Remember, we agreed that our definition for alien would be not from the Earth.
Yeah, they're not of Earth, folks. They weren't born of a woman, and so yeah.
So anyway, just back to that kind of idea of other beings. Certainly all of the Judeo-Christian, Muslim, or Abrahamic faiths cannot deny that their scriptures talk about beings not from this earth. Okay, that's what I'll say from now on. Beings not from this earth. That some of those beings are benevolent and some of those beings are malevolent. That is very clearly spelled out in our scriptures. Is it not, Mr. Steiger?
Well, it is. It absolutely is.
So the question is, we don't know. We don't know anything about that.
No.
All we know is like these few little visions and shades and whatever. And that's the other thing I'm pissed off about my government. It's like, no, instead of coming out and saying that we've met with aliens or we've met with these different races and we're trying to ferret it out and blah, 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 it's a big secret.
Well, and apparently big enough that they kill people over it. So, yeah.
No, like Phil Snyder as an example, Poor guy. He didn't think right. It wasn't like, I didn't think he was going to, if I was in the government, I would not think that he was a big threat. I really wouldn't. I would have just let him go talk. You know what I mean? He would have run out of gas eventually, okay? And what they did was they validated his story by killing him.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. But you know what? Just because you're in the government doesn't necessarily mean you're intelligent.
I never thought that. Hey, by the way, do you have anything you want to show from your computer, or do you want me to just show you a couple things?
I'll go ahead and show something you have. I mean, listen, we got to be aware, folks. The game is stepping up. That's all I got to say. It's stepping up.
Yep. So here we've got some fireworks going on in this city, okay, in Australia, and then it just accidentally lit this up, okay. Now. I'm going to make a big change in position on these orbs now. I'm starting to think that these are geostationary optical lenses, or they're used to steer light around.
Yeah.
I don't think they're planets anymore, Wayne, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
Because a planet, that's the reason we can't see it all the time. It almost needs the sun to be right next to it, or the light source to be right next to it for it to be seen, because it's in front of the sun. You see what I'm saying?
Precisely.
For you to see it, it would have to be almost directly illuminated, and I think that's what we're seeing up in the sky. I've seen enough now of these orbs that, at least in part of the cases, I believe that we're looking at some kind of. And let me show you why I think this, okay? And I'll give you an example of a picture that really gives it to you in the face, okay? So when you see this kind of behavior with light, okay, so light can only do it travels until it's acted upon. All right, let's start there.
Yeah.
Okay. And if I'm trying to hide something, as Jeff P. teaches us, that what he believes they're doing is they're steering light around so we can't see the focal point of whatever they're trying to steer away from us, right?
Yep.
So it would not be possible to do that with just one or two. You would have to have literally hundreds of these things up there, man.
Well, and here's another thought. So we're seeing the proliferation from private corporations such as Microsoft, Google, just to name a few. I read recently that I think it was Microsoft who started this about 10 years ago. And their plan was to have some 12,000 satellites up in geosynchronous orbit. Now, Steve, is it possible that what we're seeing as well is much along to the akin of your thought, that we're beginning to see so many reflective objects of it? Could that be also what we're seeing?
Yeah. So again, so I think this is an object that they're trying to hide back here. Okay.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is, I don't know what the orientation. These are clearly lens flares where light has been prismed in many directions. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
And that is clearly being, it's light being acted upon in a way that is not normal of our sun when it's just by itself. Let's just put it that way. Okay.
So, and if you take that a thought further, as you were talking, I'm just thinking, so without a source of light, any celestial body, unless it generates its own light, would be basically invisible or dark. You wouldn't see it.
You wouldn't see it. And like the moon, the something like the sun would have to, illuminate it. And so let's say the sun's in this position and it's illuminating this object. And I can't tell you what the position of this object is, because I know that the light has been distorted. So I don't know how big it is and I don't know where it is, but I know it's there. Okay. There's something there. Light can't make a shape like this on its own, Wayne.
No, it has to, and again, the point of a lens flare, if we ask it, it's actually refracting off of a light source, correct? And it's going, look at that. I don't know if that could be a dirty lens, but I don't think so. That's a pretty bizarre picture, but you're right. You can see the object back there.
Right. I would go with that is a lens flare dirty camera, except that I've seen that same shape almost 100 times now.
Well, that would give you've seen more of them, so you have a comparison to have a matrix on. So yeah.
See, what happens when you see thousands and thousands and thousands of photographs of people that really truly believe they captured Nibiru. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But in almost every case, you can actually find something if you look close enough, okay? And with Jeff's theory and your theories around the artificial sun, and also with Richie from Boston, here we are collaborating again, right?
Yeah.
I'm now very confident there's an object up there, but I just don't know where it is or how big it is. It's the light's been distorted, but it's there.
And that's the key that I'm learning throughout this, is light is not a constant variable. It has a lot of different attributes to it that will change it.
All right. And then I got several of these types of shots that really do, I think, illustrate Jeff's point in terms of the way that light can be bent and played with, okay?
Yeah.
And then here's them doing the chemtrailing, which would provide a medium for that. By the way, I wanted to show you something which I thought was pretty cool, and we'll come back to pics. But this paper just came to me, and remember how we talked about why would they have barium or strontium in the air?
Wow.
Remember when we were looking at our chemistry of our rain?
Wow. Look at that, 98. So what was the essence of the abstract?
Basically, that the properties that are provided by this compound give ideal conditions for laser production of 3D and even higher dimensions, by the way, not just 3D. Because remember, you're only 90 degrees away from the next dimension.
Well, Steve, you're talking about this, and it's very odd. I'm working on another video on the brain, and the fact that you and I were discussing, and we're getting into some new areas of physics and science that I think are redefining and rewriting our understanding. It's like you and I talked over the weekend. If how do you know you're breaking a law if you're not aware of a law?
Correct.
Yeah.
Or, and this is, yeah, exactly. Or in a religious sense, how can you say that there's a God if that God doesn't talk to you?
Hey, listen, I've had a lot of people who throw up very right. When's the last time a deity made its presence on the earth? Been thousands of years.
Well, as far as we know, right?
Again, precisely. That's the point.
Wayne, we continue to see this UFO activity everywhere. This is Mimi, by the way. Mimi keeps seeing these black, things flying through the air everywhere. So, and again, this goes back to that whole alien question. And oh, by the way, ow. I gotta show you this, man. There's a trailer for a movie that I just noticed. It's called Nibiru, the Anunnaki's planet. And let me pull this up. I'm pretty sure they won't mind me playing their trailer since they're going to try to. That's why they put it out. Did you see this guy? Ryan Gosling is going to be in it.
Just make it full screen.
We've been taught that the birthplace of the human race is Earth, but it's not.
I about fell out of my freaking chair when I saw this.
You vote on the news, and here's the winner. Huge, heavenly bodies right here in our solar system. Evidence is now existing.
Coming, folks. Guess what? They never left.
The size of the Earth. It is Planet X, folks.
I will show you true power.
God, I hope he doesn't have to show me true power.
We need a leader. And surround them with the brightest, the toughest, the deadliest allies we can find.
No ship has ever returned from doing so.
The team will have to be strong. Their resolve unquestionable.
There's something going on inside government that's really wrong.
You are humanity's final hope.
We have to keep everything, even if that means our lives.
Seems like somebody's been watching our channel.
So when did they make this?
This was released in May, this trailer. No release date yet for the film.
When's this supposed to come out in the theaters?
Where we had all this
David,
destruction and chaos and catastrophe externally created by the United States.
Don't tell me that I'm a weirdo because I'm upset about this. I'm just sick of dishonorable trash.
Supreme Cobra Commander!
You're failures! You think I'd sell my family out like you dirtbag?
Whoa. Did you just see that?
What's that, Wayne?
The craft as it was coming out of the Earth's gravitational pull, it was just a couple of frames before. It looks exactly like the same thing that we're seeing in the SECCHI photos. I don't know if it's that far. Right there. You'll keep on. It was right there before you got to this part.
Yeah, actually.
Anyway, people can go back and take
this, but this part's like, here's the dark hand, and then we've got the freaking reptiles coming after us. It's like everything that we talk about.
Well, listen, I happen to be one that happened to firmly believe we are not the only species on this planet.
Okay, here's the frame that you wanted to look at.
Okay, next frame. It was okay coming up. There, right there.
Oh my, you are absolutely correct.
Yep. Does that not look like our lens flare in SECCHI? Looks exactly like it.
So I don't know what the release date is. Do you want to watch the rest of the trailer?
I'm just leaving the link. I love this.
I'm going to play the rest of it because I'm tripping on it, man.
Yeah, I want to know who wrote the screenplay.
I am trying desperately to find information on it, but you got Ryan Gosling, several cameo appearances from other stars in here.
Well, listen, I was in the business for a long time, and let me tell you what Hollywood is used for. Now, that's their scenes directly from Jupiter Ascending. But many times that's used for, you know, predictive programming. Well,
I'm just telling you the way that we come at this, or at least what I'm learning right now. A lot of the pictures and things like this is what I'm expecting. You know, and I don't mean to be a, you know, doomsday guy or anything like that, but this is almost, it's almost insulting.
well, it's very odd. I haven't even ever heard of this.
Look, man, I mean, this is crazy stuff. We're in crazy times. They're actually this has to be a big budget movie.
Well, I would think.
Or maybe this is just some kind of a, I don't know. Could this be some kind of a just to get us again, just to make us look stupid again?
Well, I've noticed a couple of cuts, but most of this, I've never seen this footage, but I have seen a couple of footage frames of, it's hard to say. Look at this.
Yeah, and watch this. Check this shit. Ooh, sorry. Check this out. This is a movie I'd want to watch even if I didn't believe in Nibiru.
Yeah.
Sounds like they've got the same music score as Gladiator. Gladiator, same person.
Well, you know, it was it General Mitchell? Look at that.
What's that ship coming up behind the presidential destruction there? Watch what's on there. JFK. This is just full of some symbology and messages, by the way, too.
Right over the White House.
It is. I mean, if you break this thing down for a little while, you'll flip.
Right over the White House. Maybe that's JFK. This is pretty odd. Very odd.
That answer my question correctly.
It's almost over, Wayne, and then we'll talk more.
This is a battle that we could win.
Now they're talking about fighting against them in this movie. You hear this?
Yeah, but you know what? That one scene there with the reptilian, that was from Jupiter Ascending.
Was she with the reptilian in the Jupiter Ascending?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, okay, so this is basically a hoax then.
I think it is a hoax. Too bad, you know. But I saw a couple of clips, and then I also saw a clip from Deep Impact. But something's going on here. I mean, come on.
I don't know.
Want to fight?
Oh, this is just too cool. I really do hope that this is the real deal. I really do. This would be a great movie.
It would be, but again, it looks like they ripped off a lot of footage from other films or whatever. So again, skeptical. But Ryan Gosling did not say anything about Nibiru. He just said, "You want to fight?"
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, listen, I think this is cool. How many views it got?
12,000 in this particular. There's other places that have it out there, but.
Cool deal. I think it's, you know, if Hollywood would make a movie like this instead of, you know, rethrashing the return. I mean, how many times can you make a movie of Godzilla?
Seriously, I mean, we've talked about this before. Remember we said this would be a great movie script? You know, guys, we take this dead serious. Don't get us wrong. We're not trying to joke around or anything like that. It's just, this is stranger than fiction, okay? This is an orb that somebody caught from their backyard.
Huh.
Nini took some pictures.
It's got depth to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like a piece of an asteroid or something. Maybe it was one of the close approach ones that came by.
Well, the way they keep on hitting, what was it over the weekend, Steve? One headed up in the northeast. Was that right?
That's correct.
Yeah, and then another one over Great Britain, and then one that actually hit an impact in Australia. I read of another one that hit over Germany. So, listen, it's obvious that we're in some sort of debris field.
Now, I don't know what to make of this one, dude, so I'm going to just put it up and leave it go at its own thing, okay? This is a picture of the sun with some kind of weird object. And that just might be the spaceship of the Green Bay Packers. I think it's coincidental that it's the shape of the G, by the way. I don't think that's I don't know if it's meaningful or not.
No, listen, I think that we need...
But this looks like a big-ass ship flying over the sun. That's all I got to say.
Hey, as you know, Steve, you know, I'm a deep... I read a lot. And
Bookworm.
I think we need to begin to incorporate in our temporal thinking in this existence, many people going back to 1000 BC have believed that the air is filled with life, more life than what the life is of humans. My point is, Steve, how would you know of a cloaked ship if you didn't know that a cloaked ship existed?
Again, how would you know? It's almost a philosophy.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, you know, I've been questioning the vacuum of space, right? I read an article yesterday that said that there's evidence now that our atmosphere is leaking into space. Well, you know, we got nothing to fear about. It's going to take a long time. But here's my point, Steve. Is the vacuum of space a constant? Or if it's not, then what actually begins to define a vacuum? I'll shut up. But you just see where I'm going.
Oh no, I'm just thinking about what you're saying. You know, okay, so you know how I joke around, and we are going to make some more T-shirts, by the way, to let everybody know that we're going to do another T-shirt run. But this time we're going to have clever sayings. And the one I want to put out is, "You're only 90 degrees away from from the next dimension."
I think it's true.
It's true. That is what dimensional thinking is. It's just an adding 90-degree angle to an angle. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, with that said, we don't really understand anything, do we now?
We really don't. I mean, even scientists, the real bright ones, you know, Stephen Hawking.
How are you going to learn anything unless you start at that point?
Exactly. Yeah. Or you're going to do what the patent officer said in 1887. Why have a U.S. patent office? Everything's been invented already. So what do we have over there on that right? Is that an orb?
Right. So this, remember we were joking around the other day about the stupid orb by the sun?
Yeah.
And because we were trying to find where Mercury went.
Whoa. Let's back off a second, Steve. Go back there again.
Yeah, I'm going to play it.
Okay.
Just watch this side over here. Bing. We have two orbs. Oh, one orb? One orb with a hole in it. And then watch how that black hole goes towards that orb. And then boom! Another orb.
You know what we're seeing here?
What are we seeing?
Rose, this is the same planetary shield.
That looks like people. That looked like somebody going for water.
I think what you're seeing now. I know what everyone's going to say. Oh, you know, it's an aberration of the camera. It's just the gases.
Oh no! This is core one, man. You can't say a lens flare. This is all.
After I saw what SECCHI did in the very beginning, I now have maybe, you know. And listen, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I can accept that. I've been wrong many times in my life, and I've learned to be humbled enough to accept it. But
do you notice the big change in color there, which indicates
it's feeding off of the sun?
Right, it's feeding off of the sun. That's what it totally indicates to me. I can't turn my head and say that that's not what I'm saying. I'm not going to sit here and say just because I'm not a Nobel scientist, I can't see something sucking energy off my sun. And this happened in the last couple of days, Wayne. This is like happening now.
I still think the war is going on. I don't think it ever stopped.
So what Wayne's speaking of, guys, is that included with this planetary system coming towards us are other races that are in a war. That's really what Wayne is.
Hey, listen, if you want to get theological about this, that story was implanted from the very beginning in Genesis. I didn't say that 1/3 of the heavens rebelled against the Creator.
I'm not either. And what we could be, yeah, again, this is, I just wanted to show you that. I just thought that was just remarkable.
All right. So now when I start seeing these, instead of just simply taking the standard science approach that it's nothing there, it's just merely the coronosphere with its gases expanding out, I happen to think there may be a counter theory to that. And just because you can't accept it, all you folks that are so grounded in there in your reality, because it will take away from your ability to generate income, why don't we focus in on something besides what you think is the norm? Because you're not a true scientist if you have already concluded that there's nothing else left to be discovered on your hypothesis. Steve, I'm telling you, brother.
That's just remarkable, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
And you can see other objects flying around and stuff too. And then the strange ray, like the ray doesn't come off straight. It just, like, I don't know, they're just not bending the right way either. I mean, many things I could say about that photograph. This one was interesting because it shows that a part of the Earth, this could be from a sandstorm or something, I don't know, but that just...
Pink. It's definitely pink.
Yeah, you know, we're going to be putting up some balloons again here soon once they start cutting corn. If you try to fly a balloon around here during high corn season, Wayne, you're never going to find it again. So what I'm waiting for now is them to cut the corn, and once they cut the corn, we're going to put up a couple balloons again.
Yeah, I think we're going to need to. Well, you and I may be taking a trip up to Alaska to do a little experiment, so...
That's right. Yeah, the Alaska experiment.
All right.
But this is that weird, you know, I think this is one of the original. Just strange, dude. I mean, that is just strange.
Well, someone sent me over the weekend a chart from NASA that has identified about 40 different unidentified craft. And, you know, when you start getting above 40, you're going... Okay, maybe there might be a real one out there. That's an odd orb, isn't it?
It is. And again, all lens flares probably, right? I'm not, you know, I'm not stuck on, you know, saying they're not lens flares, but I just think it's odd.
Well, listen, as I think as this begins to get closer in, and as we continue to see, if you want to, and I think you have to, any logical thought process says that you can't ignore something just because you say it's ridiculous.
But look at this. This one almost seems...
That's what I was talking about. That's what's so weird about this one picture there. It's just like there's multiple spotlights up in the...
This might be towards our artificial sun theory.
Hey, listen. All right. You just have to say, all right, if we factor in that what we saw was planetary shields, I don't care. It's, you know, they're going to say whatever they're going to say, but I'm going to go with that. Well, then that tells me a lot about what we're seeing happening to our star right now. That's an odd picture.
Well, again, this one is, this has a new meaning to me, okay, because this actually is an orb with a hole in it, and it goes so fast that the cameras can't capture it.
Yeah.
In that time frame, which means it's moving at an incredible speed, and it harkens back to what Yellow Rose of Texas was talking about. She thought that was actually the creator.
Yeah. Well, listen.
I mean, who's to say? But again, it's this orb has been flying around, and we've been seeing it a lot. Well, we just saw it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And that's kind of weird. So. And let's finish up with a couple other things. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
I'll tell you, you know, things are just getting dicey. It amazes me. You know, looking at Jeff P., all the other work that's coming in. Now, what is that?
This is remember how I told you that I've seen this green object before? This is a clear shot of it that Scott from the Bureau Channel sent me.
Scott, way to go, bud.
Yeah. So he's awesome. But you know what though? He's taken a lot of flack because he had that 23rd to 25th asteroid thing, and I'm just saying, you know, there's the lesson again. You know, even if you do get intel, don't believe the dates. But at the same time, intel's intel. We just saw that. I mean, we opened up our show with the strike in Australia. I mean,
listen, if they were saying an asteroid strike on the 25th, this, and you know, listen, in the rules of statistics, it would be considered a hit because just because you were one day off, look at that right there. That to me just blows me away. Look at
what's going on here, you know?
Dr. C, look at this. I can't wait to see what you report on this because this is energy on a scale that we cannot comprehend. And look at this. Look how the satellite is turning, and it just, it's so cool, and it's still there. That's what gets me.
Yeah, a lot going on here, man. That must have been one of their energy bombs going off.
Well, I think it's a fully charged planet shield that has now charged itself off of the sun. And what we get are frames. There it is right there. That is a planetary shield, and that's the goodest word for it I can think, fully charged. Look at that. You know, so I'm sitting here trying to discount this. And I said, well, maybe that's just a picture of the sun. But then I said, but where the hell is the sun? I mean, are you just going to give me the lens flare and the camera's going to be able to do a construct of the sun? No, I don't. You know, you got this little hobbit in there. He's got this little pencil going, all right, I'm trying to do this as fast as I can, you know?
Oh no, that would have had to been one of the Disney animatronics guys.
So anyway, that's my point. It's it just looks very, very compelling.
Well, let's just finish up where we started off. I got you know, again, no further reports on the asteroid strike here. Looks like we got some activity. Volcano just started blowing its top. Again, we have a lot of these reports on here, and if you have the alerts on, it can drive you crazy. I mean,
if you go back to that picture, there's something a lot of people need to be aware of, is that this whole area, the one you just did again of Indonesia, the one showing you volcano.
Yeah.
You hit on that again.
Yep, I'm just going to zoom in on it.
There you are. It's right there by
Singapore.
Yeah, so if you actually get on there, can you hit on the volcano again like you did? Because that ridge right there, there is a fault line. There's a ridge. There it is, right there, folks. That one right there, folks, is a very active. I'm just telling you, Steve, watch this area. There's something going on. It's something on a global level. And I often wonder if what we've seen in past paleontology times, where we see complete fault lines collapse or suddenly are thrusted up. And I think this is what we're seeing in this area right here. I've been watching it for years, and it continues to intensify.
Well, the fact that we got some blowing its top there shows that there's some pressure up against the mantle, obviously, because there's some kind of caldera underneath it, obviously. So, you know, again, if I've got pressure up on that ridge, it just stands to reason, you know, again, this is everybody says fear-mongering. I want to address that for a second. I am fascinated in this stuff to no end. Yes, it is fascinating. This is not fear-mongering, though. If you know what you need to do, everybody needs to do, you need to get used to the idea that you live in a dynamic universe. I think that's a really important lesson for everybody, that things are always going to change, both personally, on a global scale, and on a micro scale. Things are just built to change all the time.
And you know, listen, I want to bring something out to your point on this. So Saturday night, went and saw Dennis Miller and Bill O'Reilly. Got the chance to meet both of them. So we're talking with Dennis Miller, and Bill O'Reilly is right there. Now here's the thing. Bill O'Reilly won't shake your hand. He'll give you a fist pump. And as he says, we live in a different time when the custom of shaking a person's hand to be friendly, to introduce yourself, we never had the knowledge of knowing that that's how many times the rhinovirus is transmitted. And my point is this, Steve, we've got to begin to understand things are changing. Everything is changing.
Yeah, it's like a lesson that I was learning. Really, I started learning about 2 years ago. It was one of those things where it caused me a lot of anxiety to see all these changes in the earth and everything like that. And until I just kind of really boiled it down and said, really, everything in life is a dynamic, just a dynamic adventure unfolding one card at a time. And, you know, and if you think that everything is going to stay the same, you will fight to keep everything the same.
But here's the myth. It will never be the same. It's impossible. It defies the laws of God himself. And the reason why it is that nothing stays stationary. Everything is in a constant state of movement. Everything.
Yeah, and even the string theory is teaching us that that everything down to the very, very smallest particle is moving.
It is. And it is, Steve. And we just got to begin to understand, well, just be kind to people. That's what I keep saying, Steve.
That's a good one. That's a good one to always land back on. So, well, listen, thanks for jumping on the show with us. We really love having you.
Always fun.